So guys, we've been told that the reason why jihadists executed almost 200 persons in Kwara State, in Yoruba-dominated area, is because they refused to accept Sharia. Now, see how this headline here captured. It says Kwara villagers were by because they refused Sharia law. Now, the terrorists themselves confessed that they rejected their preaching, and that's why they went on that execution spree. I'm going to allow you to listen for yourself how this former DSS director explained the Islamization agenda for Nigeria. But before we get into the video, listen to what this guy has said. He has come out enumerating the 5 steps to Islamization, and you will get to know that Nigeria has already gone through all the phases he mentioned in this video, just for you to know that the current challenges we are going through in Nigeria cannot be solved. Because guess what? These people have taken over. Take your time, watch this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification for more. Now take a look.
All over the world, there are 5 stages to Islamization. Whatever the world like to do with this information is left to them. They can either accept it, apply it, get result, or they can carry it and put it in their pocket. That is their business. But it is within my mandate to speak the truth to power, to expose people, bring the light of God to the mind of the nation. There are 5 stages to Islamization in Nigeria. Either in Nigeria or all over the world, there are 5 stages of Islamization. Number 1 is movement. Now this movement is divided into 2. Either by migration or by invasion. So they come to and they migrate to a new settlement. And in the process of that migration, when they come there, they look so peaceful. They're not violent. When they migrate to a new society, that is why you see that they say, these people are loving, these people are kind, these people are peaceful. They migrate. And that's why you find out that is happening in the whole of Europe today. They are moving at an accelerated rate, migrating. The second part of that movement, or the second way it can happen, is through invasion. Meaning that they come, conquer the people, fight them, destroy them, and take over their territory. This is what we saw when the Fulanis invaded by Usman Dan Fodio. When they invaded the Hausa land in the north. I hope you know that are indigenous Hausa people. The Gobirs. Is it the Kabawa or something like that? They are indigenous Hausa people. They were conquered by Dan Fodio. So that is by invasion. They come, they invade. So they invaded the north, conquered the north, and they took over the north. But they have not been what they are doing in other parts of Nigeria is by migration. What you see that is happening in Europe today is by migration. So they will go there, settle down there. But at that time, they look so peaceful. You look at them, you say, these people are loving and kind. But there's an agenda. The second stage is population. At the first stage, they are not much, so they look so peaceful. The second stage is to ensure that they become about 40 to 50% of the population of that nation. So they begin to multiply, give birth to 5 children, 7 children, have as many as 5 wives, 4 wives. You think it's by play? No. It's an agenda to ensure that they're the most populous in that place. That's why today you hear them say, the north is very populous. Parents giving birth to children they cannot cater for. But there's an agenda just to ensure that they're the most populous. Are you learning? So at that stage, the next stage, once they have been able to settle, the next thing they begin to do is to ensure that they're the majority. So they begin to increase in population. Reproducing and reproducing. Bringing in their colleagues, bringing in their family from different parts to ensure that they overwhelm that place with number. To ensure that there are about 40-50% of population in that place. That is stage 2. Some 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you go to the UK, you find very little Muslims. Very little. Some 20-25 years ago, if you go to the UK, you'll find very little mosque. But today, there are thousands of mosques in Europe. In UK, in Canada, there are thousands of them. So when they come, they act so peaceful in stage 1. But in stage 2, the moment they know that they begin to gain number, then that is where their agenda begin to go into place. So the second stage is that they multiply. Then when that has happened, then they move to the third stage. What is the third stage? The third stage is to position themselves in power, in government, in the military. Strategic positions, strategic places. Are you with me? That's why if you go to Abuja now, and you go to federal government parastatals, you see almost everywhere, malams everywhere. Malams everywhere. Position themselves in military. Overwhelm the military in number. The Northerners are the most in the military today. Both army, air force, police, whatever it is, they are more in number. So they position themselves in strategic position in government. They begin to gain power. That was how they did it in Turkey. They begin to gain power. That was how they did it in Lebanon. But there's an agenda. And I pity UK. I pity Europe. Because when their agenda is fully materialized, what is happening in Nigeria will be a chance to them there. Today you have cities and colonies and cities in Europe that are governed by Muslims, by Arabs. You think they're trying to be liberal. The Europe is playing political correctness, but they have no idea what they're doing. So stage 3 is that they position themselves in key places in government. Key places in government. Go to any federal government parastatal today in Nigeria, I'll show you. You find them all. In military, they're there. Civil servant, they're there. Are you with me? That's what they do. That's stage 3. Then when they know that they have succeeded in stage 3, then they move to stage 4. Stage 4 is the most dangerous. And what is stage 4? Implementation of Sharia. Stage 4 happened in Nigeria in the year 2000. 1999-2000. That was when stage 4 happened in Nigeria. Where Sharia was implemented in Nigeria. In 12 northern states in Nigeria. 12. Every time I remember that, it breaks my heart. And I begin to ask myself, what were the father of faith in Nigeria looking at? What were they looking? What were the Christian leaders looking? When people were implementing Sharia, knowing fully well that the laws of Sharia permit somebody to kill another person that speaks against their God. It permits them to kill, to destroy somebody's property that is not in alignment with the principle of Sharia. Knowing that the principles of Sharia breed extremism. This is what brings terrorism today. So every time I remember, I ask myself, how did this happen in Nigeria? That 12 states in Nigeria is practicing Sharia. What were the Christian leaders looking at that period? But you know, just like it was in the days of Turkey, the Christian leaders were busy building tabernacles. 20,000 capacity, 100,000 capacity. They were priding themselves in how big the capacity is, how big the cathedrals are. And these guys were strategically positioning themselves. The Christian leaders were busy raising big cathedrals. They were positioning themselves in of Islam. The Islamic, the Muslims, they were positioning themselves. The jihadists, they were positioning themselves in government. And when that happens, they implemented Sharia. Today, all the big cathedrals have been turned to mosque in those nations. Stage 4 is the most dangerous. The moment you have allowed them to succeed in implementing Sharia, there's no way stage 5 will not succeed. I'm giving you stages. I'm telling you how it is. I speak by the Spirit. I'm not speaking carelessly. For the Lord is it that worketh in me both to will and to do of his good pleasure. That which I speak is by the Spirit. And they institute Sharia. Knowing fully well that the principles of Sharia breed extremism, the teachings of Sharia breed extremism in people. What we are seeing today is as a result of the implementation of stage 4, which is that happened in the year 1999, 2000, 2001, where 12 states, starting with Zamfara State, implemented Sharia by a governor. In fact, the governor, forgotten that his name, the governor said it is his desire, it is a desire that the whole of Nigeria practice Sharia. And we say we are a secular state. So they started with 12 states. How did they allow 12 states of Nigeria to be practicing a law that gives another person the right to kill another person in the name of blasphemy? How did they allow that? What were the Christian leaders looking at that period? Of course, I was a boy at that age, in the early 2000s. What were the fathers of faith looking at? What was God looking at? Today, many people have been killed in the north simply because of Sharia. They said, you speak against their God. They behead you. They behead somebody. They bust Deborah Samuel alive. So the Jackson has been sentenced to life in prison, and many others have been killed in the name of blasphemy. At the moment, why do I need to be careful to speak? And you shall speak against your God. Can't your God come and fight for himself? But they allow such a law in Nigeria. A law that permits somebody to stone, to kill another person. Stage 4 is the most dangerous. Implementation of Sharia. Today, you see in the UK, people that ran away from their nation to go and seek asylum. Today, they're telling, shouting in the UK, Sharia for UK. We want Sharia in the UK. Sharia in the UK. And I tell you, if the UK permits that, even if it is one state that legalize Sharia, that institute Sharia, they are finished. When the war, let them continue to play political correctness. But when their war starts, they will regret permitting it. Now they are permitting themselves. Today you see mayors and councillors and all those people in the UK that are Muslims. You think it's not, there's an agenda, they're waiting. The moment they know that they are getting majority of the powers in the state, then they begin to implement laws that is contrary to the indigenous, that is contrary to the original laws of the people there. Stage 4. And when stage 4 has been achieved, that there is implementation of Sharia, then the next stage is jihad. The moment Sharia is succeeded, jihad. What we are seeing today is jihad. All the chaos, overwhelm the nation with so much chaos. So that the people will be bowed, they'll be forced to bow and accept what you're paying. Jihad. Everything you are saying today is jihad. Ha! Oh my God. If you know how many lives have been lost to this cause. That is why I'll keep saying it. Sharia must be abolished in Nigeria. We are a secular nation, not an Islamic nation. We are a secular nation, not a what? Not an Islamic nation. We cannot be in a nation to be a secular nation. And some people are carrying a law that permit them to cause chaos. Sharia must be abolished. If Nigeria wants to remain peaceful, if Nigeria wants to get an atom of peace again, everything that permit extremism, everything that facilitate extremism must be abolished. Then they go for jihad. In that jihad, it's either you accept or you be killed. What you see in community in church, Benue, Kaduna, Nasarawa, part of Taraba, part of Gombe, Bondose, is jihad. And now they have entered Kwara State. Jihad. From there they will move to Osun. From there, the moment they conquer the southwest, then they'll begin to move from southwest to north from north and be converging to ensure that southeast, because southeast will be the most difficult for them to conquer. So they begin to come from this side, begin to come from there to ensure that they overwhelm the people at the center. That must not happen in Nigeria. Jihad. These 5 stages, everywhere you go all over the world, these are the 5 stages of Islamization. I'm sharing with you what today. Whatever you like, you do with this information is entirely your own business. But you'll be very foolish to discard what I just said. Save it. Keep it in your phone everywhere. Be watching it. You'll be foolish to discard this information. You'll be foolish to discard this information. Like I said, I don't have anything against Muslims. Practice your religion, my practice mine. If I have a mandate to preach to you, if I preach to you, you don't accept, go. There is no forcing in the kingdom of God. But for you to say you want to Islamize, you want to turn the Nigeria to a Sharia state, that will never work. It will never work.
You know, and then of course some statements which are documented.
Exactly.
Have been written whereby some people say that they have to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. What does that mean? It means that the whole from the north down to the south, you know, will be part of Islamized.
Exactly.
President Olusegun Obasanjo have said it about plan to Islamize Nigeria. These people, after the winning of that election, were allowed. They were not used again. So these people became bandits. They were busy kidnapping because they have to survive.
Exactly.
What comes to mind when you see a headline like this? Exposed plan to Islamize Nigeria. Obasanjo warned about this. I'm going to allow you to take a look at this video. You know, this is a video made by an interview that was granted by the former DSS boss. He has revealed so many things and plans to Islamize this country, come rain, come sun. Many people have said it is under Tinubu that the North is going to achieve this Islamization agenda. Because like what is happening now, Tinubu is paying less attention to all these insecurity-related issues. They are focusing on politicking 2027. And look at the menace all over the places. To the shock of Nigerians, Tinubu's government rejected death penalty for terrorists. What does that tell us? Tinubu does not want to hurt or kind of provoke the North. That's why he rejected. Now, this man is here revealing how these people invaded Nigeria, how they came in, they were given money, why they rejected the money, why they insisted on staying back in Nigeria, and why they are causing this menace, the real agenda. In short, this is a former DSS boss. So he's not speaking out of, just out of lack of knowledge. He's coming from a place of information. So he knows what he's saying. I want you to really take your time and watch this video for you to see why these terror guys are still they are in charge of the country. There is no number of persons that will be quiet now that will make Tinubu to shake body. No, you have seen the body language. Recently, 12 people were buried in Plateau State for just no reason. And guess what did we see? We saw the governor of Plateau State defecting to the APC. That's to tell you that these people have developed thick skin when it comes to insecurity. Nothing moves them. Nothing shakes them. I mean, Plateau was bleeding. They were doing burial ceremony of these 12 people. The governor was defecting to the APC. Everything was fine for them. Anyway, guys, Tinubu's body language is really showing that he's not really ready to tackle insecurity except after 2027. By then, do you know how many lives must have been taken? I'm just going to allow you to take a look at this. A northerner once said it is under Tinubu that the Islamization is going to happen. I mean a northerner, because of the body language, the lack of political will. But take your time and hear for yourself what this former DSS boss has got to say. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget that Ribadu is being tracked alongside Metawale. People are accusing them of, Fulanis who are not even Nigerians. They are not the Nigerian-speaking Fulanis. They are the Bororo type of Fulanis. They are not from Nigeria. We don't know where they came from. And they were drafted into the security architecture of Nigeria. Were given guns. They went to the communities, collected the guns of the locals, the vigilantes, the local vigilantes. They disarmed them of their arms. And then the Fulanis came in. A whole lot is happening. Just let me know your thoughts after this video in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
These people, after the winning of that election, were allowed, they were not used again. So these people became bandits. Yes. They were busy kidnapping because they have to survive. Exactly. So they were kidnapping and taking money and everything and all this rest. And then of course at a particular time, the Kaduna state governor, who is very, very much in the know of how they came about,
exactly,
was paying them stipends.
You mean former Governor El-Rufai, who said that the government knows exactly where the bandits are,
yeah,
and how to get them?
These are not secrets.
Yes,
these are not secrets.
He said it himself.
He was paying them, and as he was paying them, after a while he said he was not paying again. They said, "Oh, if you don't pay again, then we'll make this state ungovernable for you."
Exactly.
That's why they started, kidnapping people from school. They even went to NDA.
Yes.
Our Nigerian Defense Academy. They went there. And of course, it forced Rufai to close all the schools in Kaduna State. He closed all the schools because even his children were there. Now, that was that. And then, of course, they were trying to negotiate and all the rest, trying to get them back to where they come from. And there was a time that they were talking of Ruga and all those kind of things, that this food, to the Nigerian public, it was Fulani herdsmen and all those kind of things. And I remember very well, 1 billion naira was paid to them to go back. But hello, it is very, very funny for them to go back because they can't go back. How can you leave this lush, rich area and go into the desert and live there? It's not possible.
Exactly.
So they need to stay. And now they become a thorn in the flesh of government.
Yes.
Buhari managed it until he left. And after it continued. Because they were still around. They were going ahead, busy kidnapping people, asking for money. Before, we've been dealing with kidnap cases, even in the Niger Delta. They don't use to kill people. They kidnap people to, bring forth their objective or whatever. Like Niger Delta militants, resource control and everything. But these guys started killing victims. Sometimes they will kill, and then of course the victim is dead, but they continue negotiating and then collect the money, and then later you discover the person you have been negotiating for is dead. And that's why we're having some people now who, an Islamic cleric who feel that he's a negotiation specialist coming out to talk anything he likes. Because these are people that were going in between. And then, of course, thank God, the security agencies were very much awake to their responsibility by, arresting Tukur Mamu, who is his special assistant to Sheikh Gumi. And remember what Sheikh Gumi said. So if you listen to what is going on in the country very well, you will see it's like an open book, an open secret, and you can see what is going on.
So if we, but now that we are where we are right now, the situation is almost out of hand, because not so long ago, we've seen that over 287 children, whom they now cut down to 137, were kidnapped in almost same manner from a secondary school in Kaduna State. And it looks like this is a circle that we're not going to leave. How do we get out of this? Because we can't continue wasting lives. In all of this, let's also remember that these people are actually killing real Nigerians, causing havoc. The one reason why we don't have enough agricultural produce, or the prices of food items are on the increase, is because people no longer access their farms peacefully. People are scared of leaving their farm and going to their farms. And I'd like to also know, these same bandits, are they still the same reason why there is a header farmer issue? The issue that is going on now in almost all our farms, where we have some armed herdsmen terrorizing people in their farms. Is it the same thing, or this is a different issue entirely?
The header farmer thing has two faces. One is the Fulani is indigenous to this place, with, farmers that are also indigenous to this place. But these other imported ones are also getting into it, because as far as they are concerned, they see Nigeria as their homeland.
Yes, but they were invited.
And then they will go in there, and then of course, see, how can you be fighting with somebody about farm? And then you kill the people, you burn all the houses, the people run away into IDP camps. Now you see that we have one of the largest IDP camps in the world. They run into those places, leaving their own area vacant, and then of course you occupy it, and they started living there. Why can't those state governments make sure that the places that these IDP people came from is ready enough for them to go back? Because you cannot live in IDP camp forever, except you want to form a different town.
Some of them can no longer go back to their homes. That's what most of them said. They can no longer go back to their homes. That is what it is,
because those people that killed them are still around there, moving around. And they are in those places we call the ungoverned spaces, because we have not been able to put law enforcement into all.
So is it now clear that we're running a parallel government? Because RFI told us while he was in government that some bandits are running a parallel government with his administration. So if we have areas that are ungoverned in a sovereign country, does it mean that there's actually a parallel government in the country?
It's not a parallel government. It's not a parallel
because they're collecting taxes from some people.
No, their objective is to create a caliphate.
Oh, wow. Okay?
Let me rewind again. During Jonathan's period, remember, before the election, 11 local governments in between Adamawa and Borno State were occupied by bandits, by terrorists. These Boko Haram. 11. And he has to, because if he carries out the election without those 11 states, 11 local governments, then the election is going to be null and void. According to the constitution, everybody must partake. So he suspended the election, and then hired a mercenary team from South Africa. Executive outcomes went in there and drove them out of the place before the election was held. Remember? And that was done in less than in a couple of weeks. So if that is drove them out. So if that is possible, how come it's still impossible for? Listen to the clincher. Okay, Precious. He drove them out. They drove them out, and the election was held. And during that election, Jonathan later conceded, and immediately the new government came in. They cancelled that contract. Exactly. Of the people who drove out the. Do you understand? Exactly. So you have to understand the country. You have to understand it very well. We are just hoping that we have patriotic leaders who are going to say, yes, this is Nigeria. Because if we don't have people like that, then we are turning into Somalia, where there are warlords all over the country, occupying certain places. So, Mr. Makrisa, what you're saying is that there is huge complicity within our leaders and even the security apparatus of the country in this issue of insecurity in our country. That's what what this means. Oh yes, there's complicity. Forget about terrorism. Let's go back to other things. One of the root causes of insecurity in Nigeria is poverty, unemployment, and stuff like that. You know, and now think about it. We have these problems waiting to be solved, and then we have legislators who know about this problem because they are supposed to be the representatives of the people. Now, instead of solving that problem, they are busy sharing money, buying 160 million SUVs and stuff like that. What does that tell you? They are not serious about the problem. They are not serious about the problem. So these are the issues we have to look at.
So, as a security expert, sir, I'd like to know how do we move out of this entire trap or cocoon? I don't want to call it quagmire because I don't even know what to describe it as. It's scary because real human beings are dying, real lives are lost. People are actually scared of going about their daily routines or activities. How do we leave this situation? What is the way out? If there's complicity, as you have said, and if we're more or less helpless, in spite of the huge revenue that we've allocated yearly to insecurity in the country, and it seems like it gets worse by the day, what then do we do?
What we need to get out of this is a patriotic leader.
How do we get that patriotic leader with the kind of, you know our situation. How do we get that?
Well, you know, right now we have a new government. And of course, he has been trying to, as compared to the former president, this president is somebody who talks and try to interact with the people. Not like Buhari, where everybody, even his own ministers, are trying to understand or interpret his body language. That is not with this particular one. And because he talks, he has a lot of stake. This particular president have a lot at stake. And because of that, he has to do something about it. And if he can do something about it and get, this security situation under proper control, then I think Nigerians are going to praise him forever. Because what we have here looks like, you called it quagmire. Actually, that's what it is. It's a quagmire, where to get out of it is a big problem.
All right, Barrister Darlington, let me quickly get your reaction from everything that Mr. Dennis has revealed to us, Mr. Macri has revealed to us.
The first thing to getting out of this place or this thing we are in is a strong judiciary. Apart from a leadership that is very focused, we need a strong judiciary. Unfortunately, Precious, our judiciary has been compromised.
Oh, wow.
With what is going on. That is why this thing is going to be difficult too. The former chief of army staff, Borotai, he told you that this is a 20-year campaign. He said it. That this thing will last for 20 years. That means there is an agenda that they are not telling us. That is why if you check very well, most northern leaders, the way they talk about this thing, you don't even see you don't see them being very vehement, very forceful about this insecurity. They just see it as if it's normal. Meanwhile, they are the hardest hit. They are not bothered. But when it comes to power, you will see them, they will flare up. You remember when Tinubu wanted to go and remove somebody in Niger? You saw how they came out. That the people there are their cousins. You should not touch them. Oh. Can you imagine? In Niger, what concerns you with Niger?
That means we have a railroad leading to Niger. We're yet to have one from Abuja to Enugu State.
Good. That will tell you that their loyalty is not here. Precious. I wish some people will go deeper. Ab initio, these people, they never wanted Nigeria. In 1957, we were supposed to have independence before Ghana. They told us they are not ready. They said it. The Saduna told Azikiwe and Awolowo that they are not ready, that they can go on. I don't know why Azikiwe and Awolowo had to wait for them till 1960. Even after 1960, when we got independence, go and Google what the Saduna said on the 12th of October 1960 on Nigerian Pilot. How the man described Nigeria. He said that it is their heritage given to them by their forefathers.
That what is?
Nigeria. That's not how you describe it.
The entire Nigeria.
I am telling you.
Mr. Makri, are you aware of that kind of revelation?
I said, I have written about it.
Well,
he said it.
The
Nigerian pilot.
jihadists.
Okay.
The original jihadists have a different opinion about what this place is. You know, and then of course some statements which are documented.
Exactly.
Have been written whereby some people say that they have to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. What does that mean? It means that the whole from the north down to the south, you know, will be part of Islamized.
Exactly.
President Olusegun Obasanjo have said it about plan to Islamize Nigeria.
Do you believe that's a real thing?
These are all facts that are there.
Look, because a lot of people are of the opinion that, you know, all of these headers, farmers issue, banditry and all that is a subtle sign of this particular cause. Do you agree?
It's not a subtle sign. It's a jihad that is active. There's an active, ongoing jihad in Nigeria.
Good.
You know, that's my analysis.
Exactly.
You are well on public radio, so you know it's totally your opinion, but you're sure that it's something you can defend if the authorities come for you.
Well, do you need
when I assert any point, I tell you where to find it out. You know, these are public, these are open source.
They have said it themselves. What are you doubting again?
This is open source information. You know, don't worry about your radio whether you think. When they can verify these facts that are there in the open space.
Good. When the Benue State Governor Autumn, when he started the anti-grazing law, the Mietiala leader came out openly and said that unless this man remove that thing, that they are going to invite their people all over Africa and they will make that state ungovernable. Before the camera, he said it. Is that not what happened?
And by the way, that same crisis is the reason why we have over 25 people dead right now in Kogi State as a result of a spillover of the Agatu, farmer header community issue. So, Mr. Dennis Amakri, let me take you straight to Taraba State, where Wadume's return is being celebrated. You do know the case of Wadume very well. That led to the death of, security agencies, security of officials in this country, and a compromise by one other security agency in Nigeria. And the fact that he's given just a very short time to serve, concerning all that is surrounding him, do you think that his celebration by his people is very apt?
Well,
and do you think justice was done too?
Darlington has said it already, that if we want to get out of all these problems, we have to have a strong judiciary, you know. And you find out that even before, the laws that control kidnapping were not much. I think a year, 6 months or a year or something like that. And now they said, it's some plus, let it be a death sentence, let's do this, that. Now, Wadume has been in jail, and he was jailed for 7 years, so he has completed, and then, of course, he has to come out. That's the rule of law. You know, the judge has given his judgment, and then, of course, as the judge pleases, that's the situation.
All right, Barrister Darlington. Concerning the Wadume issue,
it is not enough that Wadume came out. What I'm asking, what are other surrounding issues, like the army captain Tijani Balarabe, who was supposed to, in fact, he was even the chief culprit in this matter, because the death of those policemen, I mean, IG crack team, 5 of them who went to arrest Wadume. It was that Tijani Balarabe that caused their death, because he ordered his men at the checkpoint to fire their vehicle. And when they demobilized the vehicle, they still went there. Instead of saying, okay, you gentlemen, you can go back to where you're coming from. We have nothing to do with it. This is our man. They did not do that. He had to shoot them direct hit, and all of them were killed. And they removed Wadume from their midst with handcuff. He now took them into a bush where he called the weather to cut off the handcuff they placed on him. And the man was released. During the investigation, it was discovered that there was a phone call going on between Wadume and this Balarabe Tijani. The police said, hand this man over to us so that we can prosecute him with the judge. They said, no, they are going to take him to their barracks and court-martial him. From there, this man went on a course up to today. That was how that man escaped justice. I mean, the chief suspect in this matter, a military officer. Those men they killed, they have father, they have wife, they have children, they have brothers and sisters. Nobody talking about them. All because of what? Tijani Balarabe. who is a very good ally of Wadume. It was discovered there was 192 phone calls between these two, even while investigation was going on. Everything was pointing at this man called Tijani. Instead of the military to hand him over for proper trial, they took him and sent him out of Nigeria for a course. Are you telling me that this man was not working with a high-ranking military officer for him to have gotten this privilege? These people they killed now because of what that man did. Who owns them? I don't know human beings. I don't know Nigerians. But when they were making killing people in Okwama, that their men were killed, people were supporting them. These other people have been killing extrajudicially. Are they not human beings? Are they not? That is the question Nigerians should be asking. Wadume is out now. Every other thing about that matter is over. The policemen that died, nobody talking about them. Even at that, the IGP raised another thing. Who arrested Wadume somewhere before he started going through trial? The military released him to get out of Nigeria. For one reason or the other, the man went to go and enjoy himself somewhere in Kano, where the police picked him up. You can imagine. So, within that period, pressure, did you notice that there was no kidnap within that area? Did that EB community where Wadume was holding court? Now that he's back, are you sure he will not go back to his business? Because of the way he was celebrated. I said the entire community was shut down to welcome him. A criminal. Precious, a criminal.
All right, Mr. Dennis Amakrisa, let's have your parting shot on this so that I can let you go. My listeners are itching to jumping on the conversation. We usually open phone lines. My phone lines are already buzzing. They're itching to jumping on the conversation. So let's have your concluding thoughts, sir.
Yeah, I when I joined the security services, I was schooled for more than a year on patriotism. And that's why we love this country. We see it as our own. And then, of course, all the people during our class, we have everybody from every state. People from every state were in our class. Until today, we are like brothers and sisters.
Irrespective of tribe and state, right? Or religion.
Yes, irrespective of tribe and state or religion. Today,
awesome.
That our cause mates. And I think it's the same thing in the military before. So we see each other as brother, and there must be a patriotic favor, because for a country like Nigeria to progress, there must be serious patriotism. Here in the United States, people are proud of their country.
I'm telling you.
And we should be proud of our own country. Where you will arrest an American citizen, and the first thing he will tell you is that he's an American citizen. I don't know how many of us will be bold enough to say, I'm a Nigerian. In fact, if you say that because of the way that some Nigerians have spoiled the name of the country, you better not say it, because when you say it, you are compounding your own problem.
That's the truth.
So I think we should be more patriotic. We need a patriotic leader. And then, of course, the institutions of government must be strong enough, to withhold this country.
All right.
The first place where military officers have been killed. Very senior officers have been killed in Maiduguri, in the north somewhere, and then, of course, it was handled whereby we've gone ahead to give them state burial, and everybody forgot that they keep on looking for these people.
So why is your Kwamas issue very special and different?
Because one thing about, like I told you, it's about oil theft.
Oh, wow.
It's about oil theft. When people will bribe their ways to go down to the Niger Delta, to go and work there, in the different forces, police, NSCDC, Navy, they go down there, and then, of course, during that period, within 6 months, many of them buy cars. So you find out that the bunkering thing is something that is going on heavily. I don't think the government is ready to deal with this, because you see, when we are talking of oil theft, it starts from the top in NNBC all the way down to the creeks. And we've said it in so many places, so many different times, and nobody is really paying attention because too many people are involved. When you say about 400,000 barrels of oil are being lost on a daily basis, Maybe you don't know how much 400,000 barrels of oil is. I used to work for a company called Adax Petroleum. Adax Petroleum produces 100,000 barrels of oil a day. And that is the amount that makes them run their company very well, pay their workers very good salaries and everything, okay? So think of 400,000. That means we are talking of a very large corporation, a very large corporation. Shell itself, was producing about 1.something million barrels a day. During the height of the militancy, Shell came down all the way to 600,000. So you can see what I'm talking about. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You see that every day, although they've hired Tantita Security to look after the pipeline, yes, and all the rest, but you still find out it's on barges of ships loaded with crude oil.
So you have said this now. You have said this now that you're certain that it's likely oil theft, but the Nigerian military hasn't said so. They are yet to tell us the nature of peacekeeping that these people, that the military officials were involved in.
The Nigerian military is not going to tell you that. Nigerian military is going to tell you that because some questions are going to arise from that investigation. And one of the questions is, you are JTF. What are you doing in the creeks? Without the other services? Why is it only your service that is going there? And you say you are going for peacekeeping.
Yes.
Now, why is the police not there? Why is the DSS not there? These are questions that the military cannot answer.
Okay, so
although the killing of top officers was a very, very condemnable act.
Very sad.
Very sad. But what is going on?
All right. Thank you, sir. I didn't let you know. I have one of my in-house analysts with me, Barrister Darlington. He's here in the studio with us. So I'd like to find out from him. Yes, please. As a civilian, Barrister Darlington, some retired and military officers have complained about the fear of reintegrating Boko Haram terrorists back into the society. They worry about that. As a civilian, I understand that you're probably not in any of those centers right now. Those what do they call them again? Rehabilitation centers where the ID camps and all that, IDPs. But as someone who may have been affected by the activities of this Boko Haram, how do you think a civilian who was affected by the activity will feel seeing them back into the society and free? Do you think that the worries of these retired military officers are valid?
It is not. It is not, and it's very sad. First of all,
their worries are not valid.
First of all, I greet Mr. Makri.
I greet you.
He can hear you, sir.
Now, it is very sad, and it is because we don't have a nation yet. What we have are tribal enclaves who are only after the protection of their own people. If we have a nation, such a thing will not happen. It can never happen. Never. Who are the people that are rehabilitated? Don't you know where they came from? They even told you that because they swore with the Quran. That's the only condition. That they swore with the Quran. And that was what make them to become repentant terrorists. Is that not so funny? Now, the people you are talking about, have you not noticed that the people now pay more allegiance to these terrorists than the federal government? Have you not noticed it?
How so?
The people pay protection fee to these terrorists. The allegiance is not. That's why they cover them.
You mean the public, the general public?
Yes, the people within that area where they operate. They prefer the protection of the terrorists than the protection of the federal government because they are not getting any protection from the federal government.
Mr. Dennis Makri, do you agree with that? Do you agree to that, please?
That is.
I agree totally with him.
See, oh my goodness!
You won't blame the people there because see these terrorists are operating in those very rural areas where they harass them.
Of course,
and as they harass them, they cannot go to their farms, and the federal government is not there to protect them to go to their farms. So the best thing for them, the terrorists said you should pay tax before we allow you to go to your farm. So they pay the tax and they allow them to go to the farm. So you find out that that's why we call them governed spaces, where there is no law enforcement presence. And as long as government is not available, they are not going to die. They are not going to wait for government. So their allegiance will be to them, of course.
Now, when these people see you rehabilitating their tormentors, what do you think will be going on in their mind? They will say, so this man that did this, is so will even see them with their naked eye. They can identify them, and they can say to the public what they did to them and all that. Then after they have been captured, they now see them going back to the military and all that. Please, if you're a villager, will you have the guts to even challenge them or give the police or the government any information about them? When you have seen what is going on, it's not possible. So it is the federal government that doesn't want this thing to end. The way they are going about it, we have been saying it. The federal government of Nigeria, they have not told us what they have with these people. Seriously, it started when some people went to the Sahel region, went to Mali, and told them that they can come to Nigeria now. Nigeria is their home. Precious, if you're a patriotic leader, can you say that? That is, you openly invited criminals into your country. Openly. It's not hidden. You saw how Aero5 took our money to go and pay them, and yet they still came in. This other person said, if you have $200, you are free to come into Nigeria, and you can be given a visa at the point of entry. Precious, is that not how this thing started? I was in a studio when they asked me my take on it. I said, this is an indirect way of recruiting terrorists into this country. And Nigeria will never be okay with these people coming in. Is that not what happened? Ask yourself, how can somebody go to a village, kill all the people, take over that village, take over their farm, take over their home, their family home, and sack all of them? And now terrorists are occupying some villages in Plateau and in Benue. And the federal government is aware. If these people had a home ab initio, would they be occupying other people's home? Imagine if you're in Lagos here now, you want to travel to Plateau, and you say you want to go and visit your, and they told you, which home? That the people that came from somewhere in Senegal, in Sahel, in Mali, that there are people, they have taken over your village, even your family compound, they are all there dancing and celebrating. Will you go back? Will you travel? Pressure, that's what is going on today. Today, as I speak, the governor has said it, that communities have been taken over. So when the people see all these things, please, on what moral ground will you now ask them to be happy to give you information about whoever? The one they gave you, what did you do with it? The 400 list they gave, what did you do with it? So you can see that when you look at it from all angles, the federal government is complicit. They are the people making Nigeria not to even talk again about terrorism. Because when you talk, they won't do anything. Even the one they show them, have they acted on it? The answer is no. They choose and pick. Whenever it suits their fancy, they will take one person as a scapegoat, then showcase him, and people will say, yeah, they are fighting insecurity. We are not fighting anything. If they are fighting insecurity, those people will know. Do you remember that these people, they even protested that the food they are giving them is not up to standard? Terrorists. Precious terrorists. They protested. And the federal government is just pampering them. So what do you expect from the people? They will say, which one is our own? So that is the reason why this thing has to continue to fester.
Okay, all right. So, Sir Dennis Amakri, I'm coming back to you. In 2015, after the election, there was a revelation by one Kawo Baraje about how they brought some bandits. In fact, they call them armed militias from Mali, Burkina Faso, and other African countries to Nigeria to help win the election. Do you think that that's the reason why we're still having this insecurity issue in Nigeria? Can you link this recent banditry issues or ongoing banditry issues to that issue of getting Fulani militias from Mali, Sierra Leone, Senegal, others to win 2015 election? That statement linked to Kawo Baraje in late 2022.
The answer is yes.
Oh wow!
And I'm going to go back. To Boko Haram because that's where it started. You see, we have to be one country, because if we're not one country, then we're just deceiving ourselves.
Exactly.
Patriotism is one that you see everybody as one. There are certain people in this country who don't believe
in Nigeria
that they are not Nigerians, or in fact anybody who is not from the northern part of the country is not cannot be president. And it started with Goodluck Jonathan.
You think that's a real thing?
Just remember, I'm going to remind you, because you're a journalist. Go and investigate, and when you investigate, you see it. Jonathan said, when the Chibok girls were abducted.
Yes.
The government did not believe in it. They didn't believe. I work in the security agency then. No, before then. I've retired by then. But I'm still in touch with my people there. They don't believe, the government didn't believe that this can happen because the indices are very, very wrong. One, you carry 200 and something school children into the desert. Now, how do you carry them down there? By bus? Or do you bring motorcycles to put all of them in it? How do you manage them to take all the way down there to where you want to keep them? And then you hid all of them and nobody can see them.
Yeah.
You know? Now, there are questions about that. The governor and even the principal of that school, remember, people were making fun of it. When people were making fun of it, when President Jonathan's wife was saying that only you waka come, there is God, and we are making fun of it, but the lady was saying a real thing, the truth about what happened, what was happening. Because some people are playing games. How can you be a principal? You have lost 200 of your students. The president's wife called you to come so that you can sit down and plan strategies of going to get these children back, and you didn't come the first day. Then the second day you reluctantly went down there. You know, that's why she's saying there is God. Now that is Boko Haram. 1914-15, the election. Remember, President Buhari has run that election for almost 3 times. He failed.
Yes, please. Very correct.
And this time, he felt that, okay, they must get it by all means. And, of course, there was a coalition that came up with a party. And, of course, maybe everybody in that party might not be aware of it, but there were some people that were brought. Even Buhari himself said it. You know, I'm saying this because it is not rumor. When the president of Chad, the present president of Chad, when he took over from his father who died, came to Nigeria at Aso Rock, they asked Buhari, appointed journalists asked him, what are we doing about these bandits? They were called bandits then. And he said they will take care of them and let them go back to where they come from. That's President Buhari. I'm quoting him directly. If you go to the archives, rewind the tapes, and you will hear him. He said it. Yeah, where they came from, that means they are not Nigerians. You know, they are not Nigerians. And these guys are French-speaking Fulanese.
So the former governor of Benue State had reiterated that a couple of times, that even the headers that have been, wreaking havoc in Benue State speak very strange languages that's different from that of Nigerian language.
Yes, they are not speaking Fulani at all. You know, they are speaking French for full day. You know, French and full day. Now, these guys has been harassing. After Jonathan considered that election, there was nothing to do again, because you brought out, it's just like you brought out an army to fight something. Remember again, I'll remind you, I keep on reminding you because I deal with facts. The president before the election said that if you lose that election, the monkey and the baboon will be soaked in
their own blood. Yes, he said it.
The statement that led to Jonathan saying that no, his ambition is not worth of the blood of any Nigerian.
Yes. Very good. Now we are communicating.
Exactly.
So you find out that this happened, and
do you believe that is going to happen in your lifetime? Just my final question.
Oh yes, it would happen in my lifetime.
Thank you.
I believe that.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Dennis Makri is a former deputy director of the DSS. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. I called you in a very short notice and you obliged me. It means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Very much for having me.
Thank you. All right, Lagos Barrister Darlington. Yes. There's a whole lot to talk about still. Shehu Sani is telling President Buhari Tinubu to stop letting people come and visit him in private jets with people's money, with the public funds. You should just tell them to stay ready and utilize public funds for public purposes. What do you have to say about that?
He will not even listen to him, because Tinubu like a crowd to be around him. Yes, he like people to come and show solidarity. Is there any time he's coming to Lagos that the airport is not filled with activities? He has stopped the convoy from airport to his Bodilon home. But the airport, that one is sacrosanct. People must be there to dance or one better welcome him.
Okay, so just a good breaking news. We hear that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has recovered 30 billion naira in the ongoing investigation of suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Poverty Alleviation, Better Edu, and former Chief Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Program Authority, Halima Shehu. And we also hear that so far, the EFCC says it's investigating about 50 bank accounts. You know, we've been asking, how far Better Edu now? President Tinubu says, step aside, let's do investigation. And so how far? So EFCC has given us updates. They are working.
Precious.
Sir?
It was it not in this country that they told you that between 2015 and 2023 or so, all the money that EFCC was supposed to recover, there is no record of them. True or false? True or false? So what are you celebrating and jubilating? That is the last you will hear about that money. If you think that...
Barrister Darlington, Mr. Dennis told us to be very patriotic about our country. You don't sound like you're very patriotic, like you're hopeful that we're
getting things right. My dear, listen very well. I have read history of countries who are patriotic. They did something before patriotism came. With the way Nigeria is now, patriotism is far from all of us. No Nigerian can be patriotic with the way this country is being run now. Don't deceive yourself. Except there is a paradigm shift. Except something happen that will realign our sense of reasoning, that will bring up new leadership in this country. There cannot be patriotism the way things are going, whereby you'll be selecting who to prosecute and who not to prosecute. You'll be selecting who to give privilege and who not to give privilege.
Okay.
How can the country work?
So guys, after Trump praised to Remi Tinubu, there have been a lot of reactions, Let me read out one. This human rights lawyer, Malcolm Omihobo, said, Remi Tinubu does not require validation from Donald Trump to be seen as a respected woman. Respect is earned at home, not bestowed by foreign political figures at ceremonial events. Nigerians must outgrow the mindset that external praise defines our value or legitimacy. And I think that is just it. I mean, one of the things I don't like talking about Remi Tinubu is the way she has ignored women and children in the IDP camps. Let's just leave that of men. I mean, women and children going through hell in IDP camps. This woman has never taken her delegation. She has been going around distributing the grassroots renewed hope agenda packages, but she does not count it needful to visit IDP camps. I mean, at least for the sake of the women there. When I mean women, consider the aged, consider the pregnant, consider the newborn, consider children whose future, has been disrupted by this Fulani headsmen. It takes the special grace of God for you to raise a child in IDP camp, and that child grows up to become responsible. I mean, it is just like 5% out of 100%, of children become successful from such an environment. Don't forget that growing up, your environment affects your mindset, even the kind of self-esteem you have for yourself and everything about you. Now, these people have been left in IDP camps. When politicians like Peter Obi say, let me go and visit, they say, no, he dare not visit. He's not allowed to visit. Everything has been attached to politics. But we've not seen Remi Tinubu and her husband going around to all these IDP camps to visit these people who have been pursued out of their homes, living in another place, abandoning their farmlands. I mean, what they've been doing growing up, they suddenly abandon it because Fulanis must take over lands in Nigeria. And we have a national security advisor who is a Fulani man who is busy, setting up vigilantes from Fulani community to go police the entire Nigeria. I've not seen this level of dumbness. I'm just appreciating God for the social media, because if not for the social media, this country would have been sold over. Because you can imagine Ribadu setting up a Fulani group to go and police the people, the communities. If not for social media, we wouldn't have known. If not for social media, we wouldn't have raised alarm. If not for social media, this agenda wouldn't have been disrupted. They would have ended up, because we didn't even know when the recruitment took place. We didn't know when the training was held. All we heard is that they've already finished training. I mean, can the government be this fast? It only happens when criminal activities are ongoing. Now, this person say, exactly, it's all vanity and pretenses in high place. She deserves no validation from any well-meaning Nigeria. This government is the worst to witness in economy and security challenges. And this other person here say, you guys are hypocrites. If President Trump talked down on her, I believe you will be the first to write about how bad you have known her. You will quickly bring up one past memory, what her behavior portrays, an objective of your narration. The whole world knows, now knows who she is. You may not value what you have, or others will. And this person here said, no Trump handshake, no respect. Got it. Nigeria, please update your self-worth software. And this other person here said, I don't know if Donald Trump knows that she is just calling the name of God in vain. She does not respect anyone, always act like she's a god. During her time as a senator and in her current position, she behaves the same way. I don't think Donald Trump really relies on written reports. And this other person is saying, but when he insults Nigeria, you corroborate him. Oga, rest and forget the motivational talk. You are too smart not to know there is more to the statement in the sphere of diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and the US. And Donald Trump has always had the most despicable word for Nigeria and Nigeria. So this means a lot in area of diplomatic relationship, and then this person went ahead to say people are just happy because he signals the forceful relationship between America and Nigeria that escalated late years seems to be defrosting. Stop deliberately tribalizing it. 9 million is a huge amount of money, and it goes a long way even in Washington. I don't think Donald Trump has ever crossed paths with her, but he read what they gave him on a piece of paper. Money talks in Washington. I thought we all know this. So these are reactions from Nigerians as regards to what is happening. I don't know what you make of all this. In the comment section, let me know your thoughts about Donald Trump praising Remi Tinubu, that she is a wonderful woman. Nigerians are saying they are not sure Donald Trump actually know who she is. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for more updates. Thank you.